Welcome back, everyone. It's time for episode 33 of the Horns Up podcast, your weekly catch-up on all things metal. I am your host, Dan Kaplan, coming to you as always from New York. With me from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the most socially just of social justice warriors, Corey Butterworth. Corey, how's it going?
I totally thought I was going to get the Sock of Northern Darkness, and I'm a little upset that I didn't.
I changed it up because we both have been reading up on this whole Metalgate thing, and I had to poke some fun at it. I couldn't touch on it.
That's definitely fair.
Because what a crock of stupid.
I'll talk about it more a little bit later, but not a whole lot more because I don't feel like I should because it's that stupid. But yeah, it's a wondrous mess and a waste of everybody's time.
It's just when you think the internet is out of like dumb shit to rally around, it just always finds ways to give you more. You know?
Yeah.
Guys, don't untraditionalize metal. Metal's always been abrasive. Here, I'm going to post an Amonamarth video. Hashtag Metalgate.
Oh God, I don't know.
Without naming any names, because plenty of people have been naming names, and it's brought a lot of unnecessary negative attention towards people we have a lot of respect for.
Sure.
Shout out to everyone that is involved on the good side. We're sorry that you have to deal with what you have to deal with. We're with you. It's 100% stupid, and it'll blow over, hopefully.
Of course it will. It's based off nothing. It's based off nothing, and I'll get into that again in just a couple of minutes, but it's going to blow over in about 2 days. Yeah. At least it better.
We hope. Gamergate ran its course, so hopefully Metalgate will not take as long to do so.
Right.
Anyway, we have a special guest with us today, don't we?
Yay! Yeah, we do. It's our co-host emeritus.
From down in the self-appointed greatest city in the world. A statement whose accuracy I cannot verify at all.
Baltimore's never been honest.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
From Baltimore, Maryland, it's Kevin Davis, our co-host emeritus. Kevin.
Hey.
How you been, dude? It's been a while.
I've been well. My back surgery's healing okay, except for today my nerves are all on fire, which is a weird feeling. But other than that, good.
Glad to hear it, man.
Yeah, and I will say, because I wasn't allowed to respond in the Metalgate thing, because, I guess surprise.
and then you ruined the surprise by introducing yourself before I introduced you. No, I'm kidding.
That's what I do. But yeah, I just feel like anything that has gate at the end is never a good thing. It's never like, oh yeah, great, Metalgate, this favorite thing. Gamergate, this thing that's equal to women. Watergate.
Nipplegate, Janet Jackson's tit.
Wait, should it be Watergate Gate? I think it should.
Well, no, that's what I was gonna say. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for someone on the internet to not know what Watergate is and try and hashtag that. Guys, water shouldn't be carbonated. Keep it traditional. Keep it pure. Watergate.
Hashtag Watergate.
Yeah. Posting an image of Niagara Falls. Hashtag Watergate.
Jesus.
Oh boy.
I really want to just post a picture of the Metal Gate outside my backyard and be like, hey, hashtag Metalgate. Because the fence.
I already joined the fun. I posted a picture of the end of a Scooby-Doo episode, and one of the villains that said I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids. And then I did Metalgate, Meddle. So
lol.
It was fun.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Anyway, this episode is going to be, as we've been teasing online, it's going to be a little different from our normal stuff. We are not doing headlines. We're not doing concert reviews. This is going to be our primary focus this week is going to be on our year-end list, our top fours. As you know, we've been going through, Corey and I have been kind of going through it on the last couple episodes on the podcast, on the blog this week, running through our 25 best albums of the year. Now, Corey's labeling them honorable mentions. I'm just...
Not giving a shit.
Yeah. And we haven't really been ranking them up to this point, but these top four are our definitive top fours of the year, our four favorite albums that we heard in 2014 from around the metal world. Before we get into that, though, let us talk about some horns up, horns down, because we weren't going to completely throw our normal template out of the way. Starting with this, horns up, Corey. What has been making you happy this week? What's been your horns up?
Well, honestly, it was almost something on Monday when I found out that maybe there was an official release date from Nurgle about his autobiography.
Yeah.
Since that point, when I tried to research when I got home, all links and all notes and all comments about it have since disappeared, and I don't know why the fuck happened.
Oh, you know what
or
that
why
means?
The fuck that happened?
You know what that means? His PR guy fucked up.
Yes, he did.
Or his
Yes, he
publisher's
did.
PR guy fucked up.
Yeah, it's all over. I mean, I'm sure we'll hear something soon at this point, but
Son
of a
it's
bitch.
just an Andy Kaufman-esque performance where he's like, no, we never released any of this stuff. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, I just made all that shit up at work that day, and I very well could have, to be fair. So that was almost a horns up, and now it's almost a horns down. But I gotta say, what's actually pretty cool, and this is gonna be me talking about Portsmouth for a few minutes, is they opened a giant skating rink in the middle of Strawberry Bank, right near the downtown area.
Oh, well,
And
that's cool.
It's really cool. It's only a few blocks from here. They've been working on it for the last few months. And they have like pickup hockey games, time put aside for all this like nonsensical crap. But the fact of the matter is, it's one more cool thing to do in the winter, and it allows me to play, real hockey from time to time instead of street and or floor hockey. So that's pretty cool. That's a thing that's been happening.
Did you just say? I'm sorry. Did you just say floor hockey?
Yeah,
Yeah.
have you heard of floor hockey? Yeah.
What is just like indoor?
Yeah, kind of like in a gym, but shoes. So,
Oh, okay.
It's not like your kitchen.
Oh, yeah. I was
Although you
thinking,
can do it
I was
like
thinking
your
like
kitchen.
inside your house. I was like, okay.
I mean,
I mean, you can. It's fun.
it's things, but
We should make
Yes.
we should make that a thing. We should make that a thing like we made duct tape tennis a thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
What that's cool though. Do they give you? Is it like open to the public or how does
yeah,
it work?
absolutely. The only thing is they kill the lights at like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
On weekdays and like midnight on weekends or whatever, something like that. I don't know. The details are online, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's right downtown, and yeah, I don't know. I've got a pair of skates I can borrow. You don't have. I mean, you can rent them obviously, but whatever. Otherwise, it's free. So have at it. The town says, and it's been pretty cool. It has been pretty cool. I went down, took a few pictures the other day. I haven't used it yet. That'll be something I investigate more this weekend when I have more time because I've spent all my free time writing for this blog.
Yeah,
You're welcome, world.
I've been averaging about 4 hours of sleep a night this week.
Yeah, it's not
Writing all these blurbs.
It's going well, but work is not going well because of it.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. But no. So it's really cool. It's a good thing. I'm excited it's here. Just one more thing to do in the winter. So yeah, new skating
Awesome.
rink, Portsmouth. Yeah.
Good stuff. Kevin, how about you? What is your horns up? What's been making you happy this week?
I wouldn't say it's this week, but it happened like a week or
Lately,
two ago.
since
lately.
your last appearance, co-host emeritus.
But let me since my last appearance, a lot of things have gone up shit creek, to put it bluntly. Things I won't exactly go into details, but surgeries and moving and all that stuff. But the silver lining that came out of this is my long-term girlfriend, Lauren Wolfson, who you two
Who
know.
has also appeared on Horns Up.
Yeah.
The
and
lively
I-
and purpose-driven Lauren Wolfson.
Oh, she is full with much purpose. I think she just oozes purpose. But anyways, we will be moving in together with each other on the 1st of January.
Nice.
Nice.
And
That-
we got a nice little one bedroom in this area in Baltimore called Hamden, which is a really cool little quirky area. We'll be like a few blocks from like so many different bars, restaurants, coffee shops, you name it.
Very cool. Now, where is that in relation to like the Death Fest site?
Probably like a 10-minute drive.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's
yeah,
not bad at all.
bad at all. Probably only like 3 miles though.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Very cool. Well, I mean, I know you had without getting into too much detail, you had some issues with moving and living situations.
did I.
So,
Did I ever?
yeah. So glad that all worked out. What's Lauren going to be doing, by the way?
She's going to be an
Work-wise.
assistant teacher at this place called the Schaefer Center, which is a school for autistic kids.
That's awesome.
That's
yeah,
really cool.
so she's really excited for that. She starts tomorrow, and yeah.
Nice.
Well, pass on congratulations from the
Yes.
Horns Up family.
Oh,
And by the Horns Up family, I mean Corey and I.
She'll
Yeah,
probably
we're
just say,
two.
ugh,
Those assholes.
yeah, and then thanks, I guess.
Thanks, I guess.
No, she'll be happy.
All righty. Good stuff
Yeah.
all around.
That's all good stuff.
My horns up this week. I'm going to talk about a couple of late-breaking non-metal albums that I have been fortunate to listen to this week. Starting with D'Angelo. or rather D'Angelo and the Vanguard, who dropped a new album called Black Messiah on Monday. Now, it's D'Angelo's first studio album in almost 15 years. Now, in the 15 years since his last album, Voodoo, the guy's had a lot going on. Busted relationship, DUI, rehab, record label issues. I mean, he's been through the ringer. He started this album back in 2001, but, just had all these things come up and delay it. All these years later, a couple years after he came back for a tour, just sort of re-entered public consciousness. 3 a.m. this past Sunday, he drops a song from Black Messiah called Sugar Daddy. The internet rejoices. The song is awesome. I played it about 4 times. And then less than 24 hours later, he dropped the full album on iTunes and Spotify, and it is amazing. It's like really, it's a nice blend of like vintage and contemporary R&B stuff. He's got collaborations with everyone. Like he worked with Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest on some lyrics. Questlove plays on 4 of the songs. Pino Palladino plays bass on some of it.
Nice.
It is just really funky and awesome. And I mean, I don't know. I've listened to it probably 10 times in the 72 hours it's been out. And
Jesus.
It's fantastic. Like an instant top 5 album of the year for like my non-metal list. So, that was fantastic. And then the very next day, Tuesday, I checked out a new album from Charlie XCX called Sucker, which is different vein altogether. This is like straight up pop. Comes a year after her last album, True Romance, which I thought was good but not great. Had its moments, but it was a little bit too out there for me. This one, however, is just like so completely streamlined. Like this is going to be a huge like breakout album for her. I got a feeling she just takes a huge step forward as a pop singer. Every song is like really catchy and sweet, but they all are in kind of different ways. Like there's a song called Break the Rules that is sort of a dance floor anthem with just a stupidly awesome bass part. And then there's one called Doing It that has a very vintage 80s sound with like all the cheesy ass synth swells and everything. It's like, it's wonderful. I mean, it's fantastic. There's not a single song I didn't like here. It's like 13 songs that goes by. I mean, it's the rare 13 song album that doesn't feel completely bloated. And yeah, another easy top 10 of the year for me. Charlie XCX, Sucker. Those are my non-metal late release albums that I've been digging on this week, and that's my horns up.
Nice.
Yeah. The first one's pronounced Dangalo, just a heads up.
Yeah.
Good old
just,
Buffalo.
just so you guys understand. I mean, I know Kevin, you might know where I'm coming from on here, but Corey, pop music
Doesn't exist.
Is something that happens when people don't want to sound abrasive and want to sell records.
And sometimes,
I know it's such a weird concept, but people do this thing.
sometimes when a musician and the music genre love each other very much, the byproduct's actually kind of decent.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Decent in what respect?
Okay, let's put this in an example. Michael Jackson was decent pop. That's because Michael Jackson and pop loved each other. Or
Not as much as Michael. No, I'm not going to make that joke.
I know exactly where you were going with that. That was the wise choice.
I'm just going to leave the rest unsaid.
Yes.
If y'all have a brain, you can figure out where that was
I
going.
actually wasn't going to go for a molestation joke. I was going to go for a father abused him joke. So,
Even better or worse. I don't know.
There's that now.
Let's stop this here. Horns down. What? Starting off with, we'll reverse it this time. Kevin, starting off with you. What has been pissing you off since your last appearance on the program?
one word, America.
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what's been really grinding my gears. If you look at just everything that's gone on within the last couple months, look at the Eric Garner case, which, if you look at it race or not, was a cop killing another person who did not deserve to be killed, caught on video, nothing happens. You look at the new Michigan law where you can refuse service to anyone based on if it interferes with your religious beliefs.
Pathetic.
So you go to the extreme cases of a paramedic can refuse to save a gay person's life. A pharmacist could refuse to give AIDS medication to someone, regardless if they're gay or not. Just be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
This logic doesn't make sense. You look at, and then on a personal level, I've had to deal with American hospitals recently.
Oh, that's always fun.
Yeah.
God damn. Are these the most incompetent places to put your sick people? I've actually had to file a formal complaint against one hospital for misreading a CT scan twice.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You can't misread that twice. It's your job.
Yeah.
And they only care about money. They'll get you just well enough to get you out there, and then you come back in, and that's.
Well, I remember when you punched that dude in Syracuse sophomore year, and you had to spend the night in the hospital, and you were there all night.
I was there 8 hours.
Yeah, you were there 8 hours. What? 5 of which were just spent in the waiting room?
Yeah, 5 were in the waiting room. I get into the back. I realized an hour in my hand was fine, but it was like, maybe we'll get seen. It was honestly just me not having to ride back because it was 2 a.m. and you had my car. And you were busy with other things.
I didn't have your car. What are you talking about?
The car was in like the Del Plain area. I didn't drive there. I had to take an ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had my car. Because you picked me up in my car.
That's right. Okay, you're right. Fair enough.
But yeah, I just get back there. They give me a vitamin. Does nothing. They're like, yeah, your hand's been fine. You've known this for 6 hours. Go home.
Jesus.
Yeah.
America!
We live in this country that's just, it's on the fast track to nowhere. Look at our movie industry. It's just all about these franchises that have no substance because these companies are owned by these just businessmen and not artists. We don't have art anymore.
Are we going to have a movie industry anymore after all these Sony hacks? I mean, I feel like
Jesus.
Hollywood is just
We'll have a
fucked.
movie industry because they've planned out to 2020 everything that's going to be released. So we'll at least have to that because if they don't make those, they're out billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right.
See the hole they fucked themselves into? Yeah, and granted, movies are more international, but this country doesn't even have art anymore. We just have chaos and we have anger. The day I can move out of this country and I say that grateful of the rights that we do have here, that I'm allowed to say that in this country.
Right.
Grateful of
that's
all
true.
that. Can't wait till the day that I can get out.
Finland sounds good.
Finland. Yeah. Scandinavia in general, but yes, Finland.
So,
Number 1 in education. Number 1 in
America?
bands called Amorphous.
they have more bands called Amorphous than any other country. That we do.
Finland is the world's number 1 producer of Amorphous.
But
Jesus.
Yeah.
yeah, that's my horns down.
This is a regular. I share this with you. This is a regular inner battle that I find myself having. It's a shame to see what a shithole we're turning ourselves into.
We are. And unfortunately, it's with each year and with every generation, it becomes more and more of a debt-ridden society where the society functions because of its populace's debt. From insurance companies to car companies, everything, banks, it's all based on consumer debt, which also makes it very difficult for people to make choices like change jobs, leave the country, move, that kind of shit. It's not good. It's not trending in the right direction. This country is going to be the next Rome, or
we're on the fast track to Rome, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's not good. So yeah, I mean, America's a horns down is an extremely loaded horns down, but there's a lot of fucked up shit.
It's basically, I think I have to wait for my parents to die for me to move, just because I don't want to have to be across the country and then have to fly to their funeral, because that's weird. But
Also expensive.
yeah, that was a nice way of saying expensive. I didn't want it to be like, that's the only reason.
Your parents are worth it, Kevin.
But yeah, Lauren and I both are keen on getting out of this country. Right, babe?
Yeah.
She said yes.
We heard.
We heard.
Hi, Lauren.
They said hi again.
That's a well. That's a good. That's as good a horns down as any. Corey, what about you? What is? I mean, I am I right to assume that your horns down is going to be #Metalgate?
Yeah, I'm going to lighten things up a little bit just because of how stupid this whole situation is. So I was reading an article today, and I don't know all the ins and outs of Metalgate aside from the fact that it's pretty much the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. But as far as I'm aware, this thing is completely spun off. That's going to turn into a pun. A spin article mentioning, an increase in conversation and discussion about like racism, politics, feminism, all that stuff within the metal community. Mm-hmm. and I guess a Washington Post article
From
that
several years
mentioned-
back.
Yeah, that mentioned metal was getting socially conscious. Oh yeah, that article is from 2006. So that's what started this whole thing, and people are, as you mentioned earlier, there should be no boundaries in metal. It's an abrasive community. This is nonsense.
You shouldn't have to worry about offending people.
You shouldn't have to worry about offending people. It's like, yeah, but the thing is, this is also a genre, and people need to not lose sight of this, but they will because fucking retards. People need to not lose sight of the fact that metal is what it is because of how accepting it is. All different music styles, whatever background, it doesn't matter. Anybody can be a metal fan. Nobody should care. That's what makes it such a close-knit community. And I think many would argue the fact that, myself included, that the metal community is definitely a strong one. Metal fans generally look out for each other. It's more about the music than anything else, so on and so forth.
It's so welcoming to people of all backgrounds.
Exactly. So,
and at least content-wise, it's not as always have to be this dark, menacing thing.
No,
It's music for the outcast, and that's kind of plain and simple. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's an extremely diverse genre. I mean, we've talked about it in the past. I mean, for those that have followed our podcast from the get-go, our early episodes feature a different subgenre every week. There's a lot of extensions of this genre, and as welcoming and as extensive as the music is itself, so are the fans. So to these metal fans that are all about this Metalgate and going through this nonsense, I fucking
claiming
feel
they
bad
should be able to be fucking idiots and post anything they want.
You know what? Be idiots. You already are anyway. We don't care. No offense. We don't care. And the greater metal community doesn't care what you think either. So unfortunate for you, this is going to die out in a day or two. And you're going to look like morons with your thumbs up your ass. And I can't fucking wait. Like
I said, every gate ends. Like there's nothing good about any gate.
Right. Yeah, it's. I mean, this is just such a tremendous waste of time, and the fact that these opinions exist is a little annoying. But no more than that, because I'm not going to give them any more time or day than that. Really, these opinions shouldn't exist. It's annoying that they do because we have to deal with them, but they'll be gone, and that's pretty much that. So,
there you go.
That's all I wanted to mention. It's stupid, and I just wanted to elaborate a little bit further.
Definitely an annoyance. Certainly horns down worthy. Something that's been grinding our gears this week.
And it's something like that just makes this community look bad. That's the thing. Like, metal's not a genre that craves acceptance, but at the same time, it's also not a genre that is seeking backlash.
Well, thankfully, I mean, here's the thing. Thankfully, knock on wood, Metalgate has not really achieved critical mass outside the metal community the way that Gamergate did.
Yeah.
We haven't. I mean, now granted, it's only been since Friday, so 5 days.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen it. Thus far, I haven't really seen any non-niche attention paid to it. So we'll see. Hopefully, it dies down before it branches out.
Gets to that point.
We'll see. I mean, it's one of those things that it might just be stupid enough to achieve critical mass, though. So I don't even know.
As we noticed, stupid things tend to become pretty big in this country.
Yep.
So who knows?
Yep, that is true. That is true. Well, anyway, for my horns down, I'm going to just keep this quick. Obviously, by now you'll all likely have heard about the school shooting that occurred in Pakistan earlier this week. It was driven by executed by the Taliban. 148 people killed, including 132 children. A friend of mine is from Pakistan and has been communicating that the situation is just far more complex than any of us understand through our, just dry feed of American mainstream media here, the situation over there. And so I won't pretend to know anything about it. I won't try and really assess the situation and say this is why or what could have been done to prevent it, because I just don't know. I don't have enough information.
Right.
But what I will say is it takes a special kind of coward, a special kind of just human scum to use children in an act of terror and to execute children in an act of terror. And it's, I don't know. I mean, I'm having trouble completing the sentence. I just, my heart aches for the families over there, for the nation that's dealing with this. It's just a damn shame on all fronts. So
The things that are just going on, like 140 people just shot in that school. And the worst part is, it may not be that uncommon of a situation over there in Pakistan. It's just the whole situation.
Well,
maybe not school shootings, like the travesties that they've been going through in that country.
well, I'm sure that falls in line with how Dan, introed this thing, saying that there's no way we or he or anybody could actually grasp the magnitude and the complexity of what's going on over there.
the inner workings of it. Yeah. I mean, it's, I'm not even going to try to, because frankly, that would be an insult to, it'd be insensitive to the situation, and me claiming that I have any idea would be a lie.
Right.
So I'll leave it at that. Obviously rest in peace to, everyone that was taken. And, my heart goes out to, the people of Pakistan. So, anyway, I sure am glad we didn't end our show with that.
Our last show of the year, probably.
Let's take a breather to kind of, because this was a dark horns down.
Yeah. This is heavy. This is heavy.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, we are going to be moving into our top 4 for the year as advertised. We're going to just go around and do our number 4s, then our number 3s, then our number 2s, then our number 1s. Just round table effect. Kevin, let's start with you. What would you say is your number 4 favorite album of the year?
My number 4 album of 2014 was Behemoth the Satanist. That album, I will say, at first, I was never the biggest fan of Behemoth. I was always kind of on the fence with them sometimes, which I know will include the wrath of Corey.
Yeah.
This album definitely converted me to really grasping why Corey was so big into them, and just the sound in general. Like, it doesn't sound like any of their other records, and it has this whole new tone of despair that just really kicks you in your teeth. Like, especially like the whole album leading up to the last track of "Oh Father, Oh Satan, Oh Son." God damn.
Like, what a fucking song to close with, by the way. Can we just talk about that for a bit? I mean, that
yes, but I will keep my comments limited because there'll be more on this later, I promise.
Oh, likewise.
But no, yeah. I mean, Kevin, you're exactly right. The album is a journey when you think of the opening track, the way it, the whole thing plays out and closes with "O Father, O Satan, and O Son," which is just an unbelievably epic, just multi-layered, multifaceted insanity of a song. I mean,
and you can hear Nurgle's struggle throughout this album, like the struggle he's had the last 2 years with leukemia. Was it leukemia?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was leukemia. Like, you can hear that struggle. You can hear all of, like, that pent up aggression and just dealing with that type of illness poured into this.
Yeah.
He poured everything into this album, literally. I mean, I'm not sure how much. I mean, obviously, I follow pretty much everybody in that band on every social media platform I possibly could. And he knew what he put into it. And just a tidbit of information that I'm sure most people are aware of from this podcast, and some may not be, but to exemplify that, and because he's weird like that, the artwork was actually, like, the red was actually partly derived from his blood. Like, he used his blood mixed in with the red paint to paint the.
And that the artwork on that album is just fantastic as well.
It's pretty fucking cool.
It's great artwork, great music, a huge step if you think about even 10 years ago when they had, like, "Slave Shall Serve." It's a huge step from that.
Yeah.
It's just a progression that I feel like they took a leap with this album, and it landed really fucking great.
Yeah, and I'll cover more of it later, but it's all on the same lines of what you're talking about. It's I agree. I'm right there with you, Kev. No question.
Yeah. It's Echo that. Me three. It's high. It's high on my list, and I mean it says something because the album came out in February, and those early year albums have a way
never
of
know.
like the traditionally like they have a way of kind of like fading from consciousness, but this thing never did. I mean it's just a fantastic album from front to back. So good stuff. Corey, what about your number 4 album? What do you got for us?
I have Winterfell's Definition of Antiquity. I don't really know how to start with this thing. It's easily my favorite black metal album of the year. Start to finish, it's just awesome. It's got the fantastic galloping percussion, echoing hollow screams that just mesmerize you. It's traditional black metal. You get your nicely toned tremolo picking. But these Manchester, England guys, they know what they're doing. I mean, for one, they've been busy. I'm not sure how many are aware, but this is their 4th full length since 2008. To put it in perspective, Kevin was just talking about Behemoth. The Satanist was the first album to come out since 2009's Evangelion. Obviously, there's other things going on, but to put out 4 albums in 6 years is pretty impressive. I think this album builds on all of them quite well. I did go back after listening to this, and I went through the discography. The title track is great. Really, the first 4 tracks on the album are fantastic. When you think about title track, Whisper the Elements, Warrior Herd, and I know Dan, this is one of our favorites, A Careworn Heart.
Yes.
Which tones things down a little bit. It does slow things down just a tad, but it's just got this gut wrenching feel to it that's just painful. It's kind of a bit somber, but it's awesome. And then kind of jumps right back into things with Foundations of Ash. Then the album just as a whole, it really does just the album just gives like a 4-minute break, with just a really nice, instrumental in The World Ahead, and then probably my favorite track on the album is Over Borderlands, which just it's again just right back in that galloping feel. The lyrical content, and I know some people care about that kind of thing, others don't. I tend to be of the former. It's a really, really unique take on landscape and cultural history and everything else. So it's through and through. It's a really great listen, a really great album, and definitely my favorite black metal album of the year, which does say something. Yeah. Being my favorite subgenre. So Winterfell, Divination of Antiquity, Candlelight Records, A+.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I didn't quite have them this high, but I wrote about them on the blog earlier this week. Sorry, no, that hasn't happened yet. Actually, it will have by Friday. So, but I wrote about them on the blog earlier this week. It's just a tremendous listen, and I was not sure they would be able to top the previous album, The Threnody of Triumph, but this one comes close. It's very, very good.
Whether it tops it or not, I'm not entirely sure myself either, to be honest with you. It's a beautiful follow-up to it. I mean, it's right in line with it. It sounds great, and it's right up there. So time will tell. But a great release, no question.
Definitely.
There's a lot I'm gonna have to check out because I think I've mentioned it to you guys before, but not to the viewers. As far as like music goes, I'm always a year behind. Usually. Yeah. Like a lot of even though I caught up on a few things that really stuck out to me this year, a lot of what I was doing was binging on stuff that happened in 2013. So I'll be sure to check out all of this come January.
You should probably just go through our blog posts from the past week and listen to everything.
Yeah, I'll do that in January.
We've covered it all. We've covered it all.
We've done some stuff.
I just listened to my 150th album of the year earlier this week.
That's a lot.
It's just, and I still have like 30 more that I need to get through. Not necessarily metal stuff, but from all genres. 30. So I'm going to be up to
an album every other day.
185, close to 200 by the time all is said and done.
That's better than a new album every other day clip. That's kind of
I'm going to be in Pennsylvania next week, so it's I'm going to have some time to kill. Let's just say. Anyway, my number 4 for the year, an album that none of you guys, I don't think, will be surprised to see. I've been beating the drum for this thing pretty much since it came out back in April. I'm going to talk about Triptychon's Melanic Chasmata. Now, Triptychon, of course, is I don't want to say new because they've now been around for several years, but newer than Celtic Frost. New project of Thomas Gabriel Fisher, Tom G. Warrior. from Celtic Frost. This is their second project under this moniker, and it is just tremendous. I mean, Tom G. Warrior does anguish like no other human I've ever come across. I mean, this dude gets bleak with it. Obviously he has had quite a bit going on in his life. Loads of baggage, upset over how kind of unceremoniously Celtic Frost ended, was contemplating taking his own life. And in fact, Melana Chasmata in Greek translates to deep depressions. And you can hear all of this on the album, just the despair, the thoughts of suicide. I mean, it all comes into play musically here. This thing is it's ferocious right from the get-go. I mean, we've got, more aggressive fare like Tree of Suffocating Souls, Altar of Deceit. And then there's more kind of creepy, more introspective stuff like Aurora in there.
One of my songs of the year, easily.
What a song. What
So
a
good.
song. It's just, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. It's 65 minutes, so, be prepared to sit with it for a while. But it is 65 minutes of just absolute craziness. I love it. I have kept it in regular rotation for now more than 8 months, and it's fantastic. Tom G. Warrior, thank God you're still alive.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry you had to go through all the shit you did to give us this thing, but it's fantastic.
It worked out, right? Cool.
Well, and funny enough, he hates the album. He thinks it's like his lowest achievement as a musician, or certainly since.
I feel like he's just a negative name half the time.
Well, I mean, he is, and if you follow him on various forms of anything, he definitely is. But I mean, to be completely fair, if I wrote an album during my darkest, most depressed days, I probably fucking hate it too when it was all said and done.
No, you probably. Well, hate would be a weird word. You probably appreciate it to some extent because you're not making. If you're really that depressed, you're making an album to help you get through it, not just to remind yourself of how shitty you feel.
I mean, not having been in that position, I can't really say.
Yeah.
But for whatever reasons, he does not like it. But I do. It's my number 4 album of the year, and it is Triptychon's Melana Chasmata.
You two can fight it out.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I'll be talking about it later.
Number
Thursday or
threes. Let's reverse it again. Corey, start us off. What is your number 3 album of the year?
Oh man, a late bloomer kind of ish. Primordials, Where Greater Men Have Fallen.
Wow,
right?
That really jumped up the rankings there.
Well, what's funny is not only is it in the top 4 after coming out so late in the year, it's number 3. I mean, this thing. There are albums that I consider growers. Retir from Enslaved, I can kind of consider that along those lines. Pretty much anything by Mastodon has always been a grower for me. This thing, I thought was awesome from the get-go. It was dark, it was heavy, it was deep. It had a ton of substance, but it still grew from there. I mean, it was great at the first listen. It just kept getting better every time I went through it. I don't know. I mean, maybe vocal performance of the year. I mean, are you kidding me?
Could be.
Yeah,
could be. But Alan Averill or Nemthianga, however you want to refer to him.
Sure.
He is, for that style of music, he's a very like atraditional, atypical sort of vocalist. He's like he's a vintage belter.
He's like a mix of Dio with black metal. That's really just what he is. With this album, compared to, because I was really huge into Primordial when To the Nameless Dead came out.
Mm-hmm.
That album like really got me into them. And then the stuff they kind of did in between kind of had me fall off the edge of it, and partially because the way the vocals were mixed, they were like so damn prominent compared to everything else.
Yeah,
this album, things were mixed just fantastic, and they're really like, it's amazing how well a good mix can really allow you to get into some music.
Yeah.
Which,
no, I completely agree. I mean, this thing. I mean, first of all, Kevin, to touch on that. I mean, what the hell of a run have these guys been on? They've put out some pretty good stuff. I know you didn't care for the mixing of maybe some preceding albums, but overall. They've had a good string of time.
Yeah. To the Nameless Dead, Redemption at the Puritan's Hand. I mean, now it's quite a run.
Right. And I mean, to completely and to kind of like go through this, I don't want to go through it track by track, but I'll point to some highlights here. I mean, the opening track, the title track, is just an incredibly powerful ass kicker. I mean, it gets your blood boiling. It fires me up. It's great.
It is.
Then
It's an absolute earworm.
it's.
I found
yeah, it's
myself.
like-
I found myself singing the chorus like days later.
Yeah, it's it's quite the track, and yeah, then things slow down a little bit with like Babel's Tower, Come the Flood. You know, kind of move into like some more like I guess you could say slower, almost doomier black metal type influences. But then, dude, this the Seat of Tyrants, that opening Traitor line, holy crap, dude, that's some kind of exhilarating. Jesus, that thing just start to finish, that track doesn't stop. It just beats the shit out of you. So yeah, really start to finish, it's a great album. I gotta say one of my favorite tracks is Born Tonight. I mean, it's pushing 9 minutes, and the first half of the song is just this like crazy, somber, drawn-out introduction. But
I was just going to get to that. That is the most kind of natural, folkiest thing we really have here.
Yeah,
and it's fantastic.
Oh, I love it. I mean, not a single second of that song feels wasted, which it's not always easy.
Which is
for a
saying
9
something
minute.
for 9 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then his he chimes in, the voice chimes in, the vocals chime in, and it picks up a little bit, and it's great. Wheel Lightning to Split the Sun, crazy epic track to close the album. I couldn't think of a better way to end everything. It's got that awesome, deep, almost slowed down, powerful percussion with those resonating lead notes. It just gives it quite the adventurous feel. I mean, it's a dark, sobering album. It's about struggle and loss, and it's brilliant. Yeah. I mean, it is. I don't know how it got this high up. I honestly thought my top 4 had been decided 2 months ago, but shit, here it is. Can't argue with it.
I had a late breaker enter my list at the last minute. So
I did too. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Word.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. It's not in my top 4. I don't have it quite this high, but it was a top 25er for me very easily. Fantastic album from.
And we get to
top
see
to
them at
bottom.
Death Fest. Like
Yes, we
the
do.
fact that they're coming to Death Fest and playing the same day as Amorphous, Neurosis, Tombs. What the fuck?
It's gonna be pretty.
There's gonna be some fun stuff at MDF this year. We've talked about it a million times over, but I'm super jacked up about it. Yep, I'm super jacked up. Triptychon's gonna be there too.
Triptychon, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've loved so much about this is that, like, having done this blog for now almost 8 months, I can look at the Maryland Death Fest lineup and be like, wow, I know like 3/4 of the bands here instead of just like
Right.
12.
Yeah, I'm going for Carcass.
And obviously, I knew Primordial before this, but I can't tell you how many.
Appreciation.
Yeah, exactly. I can't tell you how many bands whose albums we've listened to this year. Anal Nathrak is another one.
Yeah, that anal band, they're gonna be there.
the anal band. Yeah.
No, I did it. I did a little write up on Anal Nathrak. I love their new album, so I'm excited to see them too. It's a fun little listen.
It had its moments.
I liked it. I had fun with it.
Yeah. Anyway, Kevin, your number 3 is.
My number 3 was Paul Bearer's Foundations of Burden.
Yes.
And what really struck me about this album was how goddamn elegant it was for a doom metal album. Like you think
It
about
really is, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
think about what a lot of standard doom metals become. When it's done great, you have something like Windhand or Sub Rosa, still like gritty, very groovy. It's this mixture of like somewhat 70s, but like it's still dark. And then when it's done terrible, you have like Bong Ripper. But like even with like those two things, there's not much like variation in between with a lot of doom. Paul Bearer's albums like on a whole different level. It is just hauntingly beautiful. Whether it's just the guitar work that's so crisp or his vocal, it's an elegant
God,
album.
Brett Campbell's vocals just stick with you.
That's an album you need a candelabra for. You just listen to that album outside. You have a candelabra because why not? It's fitting for it. It is just a beautiful album and easily within the top 3.
Well, I mentioned this to Corey last week when I was talking about Yob. Brett Campbell's vocals are haunting in a way that just makes me want to listen over and over again. And what's interesting about it is the way the guitar lines almost act as they're so crisp and so melodic that they almost act as backing vocalists to
They
him.
accentuate it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fantastic. I mean, I think if I had to venture, I'd probably say what's the opening song? Is it Roads Apart? I think was the.
I think it's Worlds Apart.
Worlds Apart, not Roads
Worlds
Apart.
Apart.
Worlds
Yeah.
Apart. That might be one of my like top 5 most played songs of the year. I mean, it's just
Oh, yeah,
it's
no, that-
so so good.
That song, that hooks you in. Like it has this like evil, like sinister guitar line that's kind of reminiscent of Devin Townsend's Suicide, mixed with some Sabbath. And then once he starts singing, it's like beautiful, but at the same time, it's something's off, but in like the right way.
Yeah.
It's like that perfect way of like something eerie is present.
Yeah. Another one in my my top 25. This would even be in my top 10. Not quite top 4, but a very, very
Well then.
very good album.
It is. It's a top 25. I'll be writing about it. Well, let's face it, probably later tonight.
Don't you mean yesterday or earlier today?
No, we've already told everybody
because
we've already
space-time
told everybody
continuum.
it's Wednesday. We've already told everybody it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, and I'm sticking with Wednesday. I'm writing it tonight. Shut the fuck up.
Isn't it great being Wednesday and not Friday?
No, it sucks. I'd much rather be Friday. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, me too. God, I'm dumb and useless.
Oh boy.
Anywho,
Paul
yeah.
Bearer, Foundation's a Burden. That is a fantastic choice, Kevin. Well done. My number 3, we've already covered it. I'm going to talk about Behemoth's The Satanist. What can I say that hasn't already been said? Just I'm going to elaborate on it. I mean, like Kevin mentioned, Nurgle had been through leukemia. I mean, he's been through 5 years of hell since Evangelion came out. And this album, I mean, not only does he channel all of that inner turmoil that he's been dealing with into this album, but he makes it sound so triumphant. It's a very majestic album. And it's strangely diverse compared, I don't get me wrong. I liked Evangelion, but that just felt like it was however long, 45, 50 minutes of just Behemoth beating you upside the head constantly with this blackened death metal. There's nuance too. There are changes of pace. I mean, the title track is completely different tempo for Behemoth. Obviously we get, like we touched on before, you get "O Father, O Satan, O Son." I loved it. This thing came out in February and it has not left my top 10 list. It's been a wonderful, wonderful listen over and over again. So I'll leave it there because we've already talked about it. Behemoth, The Satanist.
And I'm sure it's going to get talked about again.
Yeah.
More on this later.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, that is my number 3. So anyway, moving into the number 2s, Kevin, what do you got?
This album almost didn't make it in solely for the fact that I didn't know it existed.
It almost didn't make it in, but it didn't almost enough to knock it down to 3 or 4.
Well, to be fair, this album was probably the best actual metal thing I've heard this year. And this was Panopticon's Roads to the North. And the reason I actually didn't hear about it...
Speaking of albums we'll be hearing more about later on.
The reason I heard about was I read Dan's posting in that New Zealand blog.
6 Noises.
Yeah, 6 Noises.
Shout out to Craig. Good dude.
So yeah, I read that. I checked out that album. And that was probably the realest thing I had listened to all year. You look at like a lot of music, like for example, you guys posted that new Dark Throne video today. You look at a lot of black metal that's like purposely trying to be dark. It's purposely trying to be depressing and edgy. And then you have Panopticon's Roads to the North, which is just real. It is pure emotion. It is
and bluegrass.
And bluegrass. And it works perfectly. It's this one guy who just put how he felt in the music to the point where he's like, I can't tour because I put all the emotions here. I can't replicate it. It is like an instant. It's a painting or a photo. It's just capturing a moment.
Yep.
And it kicks your fucking teeth in. While at the same time swooning you with its bluegrass groove.
For a second, I thought you said spooning.
It could be doing that too.
I listen to albums weirdly. It spoons. It's whatever.
Would the bluegrass groove be the big spoon or small spoon?
Easily the big spoon.
The spoon you want it to be, baby.
Oh man, I am 100% with you. I obviously won't say much here because spoiler alert, I'll be talking about it a little bit later on. But yeah, just a fantastic album. I mean, I'm all about folk metal, and this is folk metal done right. It's so easy to fuck up that melding of traditional sounds and black metal, and Austin just completely nailed it here. So.
And it's music, like lyrically, there's so many things out there that are just dark and depressing. And like Devin Townsend, it's a nice, refreshing change to hear some guy not have to just be pissed off all the time.
Yeah.
Him just be in that emotional moment of even just happiness and having music come directly from that.
Yeah.
I get enough darkness from the movies and TV I watch. Music a lot of times is sometimes where I need that light, especially in metal, believe it or not. And Panopticon delivers in spades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I had some pretty nice things to say about it. It ended up being one of my honorable mentions for no other reason than the fact that it came to me too late.
Well, it took a while to make its way to Spotify because, fuck you, Spotify.
I like the fact that this album covers a picture of the woods, too. That helps.
The wood is like the faintest pagan symbol within the sun rays.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
very good choice. Very good choice for number 2. Corey, how about you?
Solstafir. Ota.
Also a great choice.
Yep. Getting weird on people here a little bit because it's more. This is obviously not along the same lines of the black metal or the doom metal that we've been discussing. This is obviously more post metal at this point in these guys' career. It's their 5th full length from the Iceland-based, Reykjavik-based post metalers, like I just said, and it's by far their best work to date. They've covered a lot of ground. In the mid '90s, they were pretty much straight up black metal and Viking metal. They've transitioned away from that with 2009's Cold, and more so with 2011's Svartir Sendar, which translates to Black Sand.
Which you were quite a big fan of.
I loved
itself.
it. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, obviously songs like Fjada are on there. The title track Svartir Sendar is pretty good. They played both of those at MDF. So yeah, it's but those tracks and that direction that Svartir Sendar took, they still kind of pulled back to some of their roots off and on throughout that album. This, Ota, they fully embrace what they are now. 100% jump into it. And it's perfect. I mean, this is a stylistic change. They've made it full force. They know what they are, and they couldn't have put out a better album. I mean, Adi's vocal performance, again, right up there for me with some of the better ones of the year. Frankly, I think the Icelandic words just fit their sound so well, like they're made to work together. And I don't mean the way his voice sounds. I mean the way the Icelandic words sound.
Born in that harsh climate of Iceland.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know if I would really call this metal, but I don't know if I really call it anything at this point.
I think at this point, at least what we were talking about with Metalgate, metal isn't just defined by being traditional or abrasive.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm getting at, and I agree 100%. I mean, the ambience obviously far outweighs any sense of aggression, which is super refreshing. I mean, you can see some glimpses of prior releases in like Midgedi, Non, and maybe the closing half of like Nutmal, the closing track.
Yeah. There are instances where it kind of picks up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also, I mean, what I loved about it is that even when it does pick up, it's just all so. There's such a passion to it, whether it's Adi's delivery or you name it. It's just like it really feels like an emotional experience,
It is, yeah, exactly. And as you both know, like that's a big part of why I like the bands I do is the ones that are more emotionally charged, emotionally driven, and this falls right into that category. I think the music itself is a really nice blend of some, I don't want to say poppy, but some more upbeat, like Dan said, like foot tapping, moments to the music mixed in with those long, enticingly drawn out, ambient notes. Basically, they do a great job of mixing that together and keeping, a listener's interest without flaw. I don't know. Their sound is so unique. This album is just so perfectly put together, start to finish. I mean, it's going to be one I revisit over and over again, to come. It's just that good. It really is.
No doubt.
So Solstafir's Ota. I mean, I love you guys. I liked you guys. Just recently discovered them about a year and a half ago. Saw them twice in a week, and I would repeat that in a heartbeat if I could. So well done.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Definitely. In my top 25 as well. It's been a really a consistent listen, a consistent revisit since ever since it dropped. So
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, my number 2, I'm going to talk about said late-breaking album that I mentioned earlier. This thing only came out last week officially, but I love the hell out of it. I'm going to talk about Cretin and their new album, Stranger.
I love Cretin.
Yeah, this was just a blast. Creedon's been around 22 years with a 5-year breakup in between. This is just their second album. And their first in 8 years. Now here's the thing.
So does that mean they released their first album 16 years into being a band?
Yes.
14 years.
14 years into being a
14,
band.
but yeah, same idea.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that first album too, by the way, at some point.
Yeah,
because it's a good one.
Well, now here's the thing. I am not. I mean, and Corey, you can attest to this.
Yeah.
And Kevin, you probably can too. I don't know why I singled Corey out there.
Because you're
picking favorites as always. I am not a grindcore guy.
No, you're not.
Just I've tried multiple times, but just the particular style just tends not to do it for me.
Sure.
This, on the other hand, I don't know if it was there were more death metal elements in there. It didn't feel like straight grind. This stuck with me, and this stuck with me like, I mean, shit, enough in 1 week to become my number 2 album of the year. It's just a ton of it's 14 tracks in, I think, 32 minutes. It goes quickly. Marissa Martinez Hoadley, good Lord, she just sounds like such a fucking demon on this thing. This is just it's unbelievable. It's you just get these lightning quick just pummelers from Ghost of Teeth and Hair. You've got I some of the song titles actually just make me laugh out loud. There's a song called Mr. Fry, the janitor guy. There's one called They Buried the Lunchbox. I mean, like, I love it.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. I mean, I was hoping they were going to keep that part of Cretin, because some of like my favorite tracks off of Freakery, which came out back in 2006, are Daddy's Little Girl, Unitit, Cook the Cupcake, and Walking a Midget.
Yeah.
Yes, Walking a
like
Midget.
If Anal Cunt were better.
Right, exactly. Yeah. These guys.
But yeah, I mean, since Freakery, they've added another guitar player. They've added Elizabeth Shaw, who used to be in an Iron Maiden tribute band, the Iron Maidens. And with her, you get these, like, I mean, obviously they're not shred solos by any means. They're not like long and drawn out and wanky, but you get these terrific little lightning shock leads. I'm thinking on like Beast in the Drowning Bucket, Mary is Coming, stuff like that. That just really, really add an extra pulse to this thing. Yeah, it's fantastic. Cretin, Stranger, hats off to Marissa and co. I mean, this was a fantastic listen.
Indeed.
Number 2 of the year. So,
That's yeah.
With all that being said, time for number 1s. Kevin.
Oh, I thought we were going to court. Whatever.
No, see, because here's the thing. We already know what Dan's is, and we probably already know what mine is. We definitely already know what mine is. So why don't you start things off, being the one surprise left?
Yeah.
I'm the surprise.
That's a fact.
Anyways, I don't know if this would classify as metal.
Probably not.
Except for the person who did create it. Devin Townsend released 3 albums this year. And while the double albums, Sky Blue and Z2, were good, they were even close to great. In my mind, they did not come close to my number 1 album, Casualties of Fool. This album,
very interesting.
Yeah.
For me, this was the album I can tell he felt he needed to make, and I personally needed to hear at the time it came out. It is this, even though it's this like kind of country-ish album, it's this dark, depressing album that lyrically, musically, like tonally just hits you. It's a little long at parts, but for God's sakes, like, I made a short film this summer tonally inspired by the song Mood.
Yeah.
The fact that an album can cross over and inspire any other forms of art that people do, that's a testament to its power.
Yeah.
It's so many songs are just, they give you this feeling of loneliness, of isolation. It captures what it would probably sound like to hear a radio in space. Yeah. And it's, for me, that is my album of the year, just in general, metal and
otherwise.
Yeah. Well, I remember, I mean, this one took me, you know, I mean, I've told you about this a number of times. I have always been, in, since Devin went into the Devin Townsend Project phase of his career, I've always been more a fan of the more upbeat,
right.
the Addicted, the Epic Cloud, now Sky Blue style. Albums like Key and Ghost, while amazing, always took a little bit longer to sit with me. And the same was true of Casualties. I mean, this thing came out in May, and it's just now, like, I went back and listened to it to score it the other day for my rankings and everything. And it's just now beginning to resonate with me. And is it ever resonating? I mean, it's really, I mean, my respect for Devin was already, through the roof, and this only takes it higher.
It's one of those things, like, you could tell you guys talked about on your last episode, and I witnessed it when I saw him in Baltimore. You could tell he was tired. And even on some of the Z2 stuff in Sky Blue, you can get hints of him being tired. And I think it's directly because he put everything he had into Casualties, while at the same time letting Che just run with it. He gave her complete control, like, lyrically. And it worked so well. Like, hell, Spotify told me my number one song this year is from Casualties of Cool.
Did you do the Spotify your year in music thing?
I didn't. They forced it upon me. They're like, hey, here's an email. Here's your number one song. I'm like, thanks, delete.
Oh no, you got to do the whole thing. That's a lot of fun to look through.
I didn't do it.
My most listened to artist on Spotify. Any guesses for 2014?
Steel Panther.
Yup.
Yeah.
Not ashamed. Only a little bit ashamed.
I'm proud that your number one is Steel Panther, because someone's has to be, and I'm very happy it's you.
Steel Panther is somebody's number one.
Because it'd be very weird if it were Corey or myself.
Yeah,
but for you, it fits perfectly.
It's so me. Anyway,
God.
That's a great choice though. That's I ended up becoming a fan of this album, as I said, and it was pretty tremendous effort from Devin.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, now Corey, I mean, I know Kevin and I have both already talked about this sucker, but what more can you possibly say about Behemoth's The Satanist, your number one?
Aside from saying that it's gotten the trifecta treatment today, and every single one of us has it in the top 4. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
None of these other albums.
Shout out to Nurgle.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, this picking this album number one feels a little bit like a cop-out, and I'm going to start things from the end here a little bit and say the deciding factor for me that put this at number one was exactly what Dan described earlier. This album came out in February, and I went back to it probably every month over the course of the year, and I enjoyed it just as much as I did at the first listen. It lost zero ground. It only picked up steam in the beginning of the year. I saw these guys twice touring this album, and it only grew on me.
One of which you sat through the absolute worst fucking dog shit lineup at New England Metal and Hardcore.
I would do it again. Yeah, it was.
That's something. That is a testament for them being your number one album of the year.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, their live performance is just on another level. There's I don't know. Whatever. I'll talk about the album. Let's do that first. Yeah, so how could this not be my number one? I mean, like we discussed, we talked about Evangelion, that came out back in 2009, and everything that Nurgle's been through, the leukemia, the whole deal. And I feel like they did push the boundaries a little bit back then with songs like Lucifer, A Fire in the Void, Alas, the Lord is Upon, whatever, those kind of tracks. They really pushed the boundaries there, but I feel like with this album, they really just jumped into it. They jumped into like the stylistic changes that you see through on this thing start to finish. Right off the bat, they give you Blow Your Trumpets, Gabriel, which came out a few months before the album dropped. And I know many people consider this opening track one of, if not the metal song of the year. But for me, it's barely in the top third of the album. Like, really. These guys have been at this for 23 years, dude. Nurgle started this band in 1991 when he was like 14 years old. Yeah, easily, their greatest work over those two plus decades. Everything seems to have kind of, summed up to this moment for them. Obviously, especially Nurgle, given what he's been through. I mean, the thing is, like, the album was so hyped up. There was so much build up for it. There's so many publications running stories on it, and the stories that went behind it. I was a little concerned about how good the album would actually be. How well would it hold up? It's a lot to live up to. And Behemoth, Nurgle, he's going to promote everything till the end of time. And unfortunately, when you release things like 4 different trailers for the same album, you get a little concerned they might be overdoing it. But
Gee, I wonder why we would do that. Could it be maybe because Slipknot did 400 trailers for their new album and it
that is fair.
sucked?
Yeah, exactly. Hence concern, because that's what bands usually do. But
That's a testament to America doing it wrong.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I mean the album, the one I'm getting at is the album exceeded those expectations that I could have had for it easily. I mean, it's got blends of catchiness, Ora Pro Nobis Lucifer, the Satanist, which Dan touched on, which is a complete change in tempo for them. It's got the aggressive Fura Divinis, one of my favorite tracks, In the Absence of Light. And then you move into like the more like evil Ben Sadahar, Blow Your Trumpets, Gabriel, but it's all still Behemoth, and it feels like it. They do it really to perfection. They're not Black and Death anymore, not with this album. They start off as pure black metal. They're not that either. I don't know. They've done something different here, and it's awesome. Yeah, I'll talk about it one more time. O Father, O Satan, O Son is just insane. Probably the best closer I've heard this year. Actually, without a doubt, the best closer to an album I've heard all year. And yeah, one of the best things to do is actually see them play that song as an encore to a live set, because it's just the most ridiculous experience on the face of the earth. I mean, when they bring out like the black horn masks and everything, it's nuts. It's nuts.
Badass.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Like the spoken lyrics and junk that are involved there. It's nuts. I mean, Nurgle, absolute brilliance after a hell of a 5 years. Number one, Behemoth and Satanist, to nobody's surprise, obviously, at this point. But yeah.
Deserving choice. Choice. Well, as we alluded to before, my number one, I gotta give the honor to Panopticon, to Roads of the North. How do I want to start with this? I like folk metal. I've listened to a lot of folk metal. I've listened to a lot of good folk metal, this, Sayor, stuff like that. And I've listened to a lot of like
bad,
mediocre folk metal.
Things like Vorknagar.
Or Elvedi.
Yeah.
Elvedi has really become mediocre.
I mean, Elvedi is just Linkin Park if you replace electronics with a hurdy-gurdy. So that's just what.
Wow, I did not expect that, but sure.
That's certainly
a way to put it.
That's certainly one description of Elvedi that could be applied. But my point with this is I've seen folk metal done before. I've seen folk metal even done over a black metal backdrop with Sayor this year.
Sure.
Another of my top 25 albums of the year.
Yes.
But I had not ever seen it done with, and now granted, I am new to Panopticon. I wasn't familiar with any of his back catalog, but I had never seen it done with Americana folk, with banjos, with violins, the violins playing like bluegrassy type stuff. This combination was so new to me and so refreshing, and he handled it so well. Blending folk instruments with metal instruments, like I said earlier, it's not always a sure thing. I mean, I even think not necessarily folk instruments, but if we're talking like non-traditional metal instruments, even Isan had some issues at times when he would bring in saxophones that would just kind of sound a little bit jarring and
weird.
stuff.
Well, I love those, but that's.
My point is like it's not a sure thing when you bring these outside instruments in. Austin brings them in. You get not only the fiddles and the acoustic guitars, but on the Long Road Part 1, you get a straight up bluegrass track. There is not a hint of metal to it. And it all works so well. It all feels like a cohesive thing. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Long Road Part 2, there's parts of it that kind of remind me almost of Opeth at their proggiest. For me, the standout is still Where Mountains Pierce the Sky, the second song on the album. Just what an emotional, just like uplifting thing. You start with like a fiddle and flute combination, and then even once it gets heavier, these melodies just remain in the background, and it's just gorgeous. This blends the folk metal influences with the same degree of success, if not more, than Death Heaven had last year in blending their shoegaze influence into black metal. Yeah. It's just that kind of just lights out, fantastic, firing on all cylinders record. And it's, I can't say I can't say I heard a more complete album this year. Panopticon, Roads to the North, it's my number one. So
I would say so many bands could take a couple pages from Austin's book. If you like, I was reading on how he did the last album before Kentucky.
Mhm.
He recorded that in a week. I don't know what the recording time for this is, but it definitely feels, and from what he said, it's capturing a moment. It's capturing an emotion and seeing it through. There's not this long overdue process of making all the tracks perfect. It's capturing what he felt, putting it on the page, letting it go.
I'm
And
with you.
so many artists, musicians, movie makers, writers could take a page from that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'd say we'd have a very good 12 albums here. I wouldn't say 12 because there's
There weren't even 12.
There were some overlaps.
There were like
Kev.
7.
yeah. Okay. A very good 7 albums. A great 7 albums. Like this is a list that should be put down on paper for people to check out as essential metal of 2014.
It was a fun year for music. I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people slagging off 2014 for metal, and
You kidding me?
I don't think it was. I certainly don't think it was as good as 2013 was. There's a lot of good stuff here. A lot of good stuff here. That will about do it for episode 33. We're coming up on next week is Christmas week. What do I mean now, Kevin? I know you are a non-Christmas practitioner, and by that I mean a Jew. So happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Like, dude, I have a Christmas tree. I've had a Christmas tree my entire life. Every year I do Christmas. I forget when Hanukkah is. I am the worst Jew when it comes to being Jew. Look at my blonde hair.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, we did have Christmas trees in college, and they may or may not have had pentagrams on them.
This is true.
They did.
This is true.
I think all of us were really bad at Jewish.
I'm not Jewish at all.
Yeah,
So,
you're horrible.
I am Jewish
Fair point.
in last name only. But yeah, what do you guys got going on the holidays and the new year? Anything fun coming up?
Honestly, I'm going to be working for most of it. I had to take a lot of my holiday time to recover from my back surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So besides Christmas Day, the day after, and New Year's Day, I have to work.
Wah,
So.
wah.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, I've had basically a month off work.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
there
true.
you go. There you go. Corey, how about you?
Not a super ton. I'm gonna, do some socializing, drinking, and probably just listening to a lot of metal and working on some Horns Up stuff. So get excited for 2015, world.
Horns Up is going to be back in a big way in 2015.
Yes, it is.
We're not leaving, but we're going to be back.
after like
as
3
well.
days off.
Speaking of things that are going to be back, if I can just shamelessly plug and promote,
Jesus.
Are we finally
Yes.
getting new episodes of The Shades, Kevin?
we are.
Yay.
And we've almost have picture lock on 2 of them. We're working on we've shot another one that's being edited. The others are going to be shot around starting mid-January, and we're going to hopefully try to release them within the first or second month of 2015.
Very
So
cool.
we are, myself, and my partner in it, Mike Barnett, who you guys know and love from the Syracuse days.
Indeed.
That we do.
Yes, we are very excited what's to come. I actually just finished tonight writing an episode about Christianity that I'm very proud of.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, where
It
can
is-
the listeners get more from Visibly Shaken? What's give us some social medias and stuff.
on Facebook, search Visibly Shaken Productions. On Twitter, it's VShaken, V-S-H.
At V Shaken.
At VShaken, V-S-H-A-K-E-N. You can find us on Funny or Die, just YouTube. Look for Visibly Shaken Productions. Look for The Shades. Our pilot episode came out in March, and since then we've been writing, shooting, editing, getting this out.
Pouring
like
souls
crazy.
into.
Yep.
Pouring a lot of disgusting things into other things just to make this come out perfect. So we're
Just to make
very
this
excited.
come out.
Yeah.
Seed.
So get ready, world.
We are. I'm excited. I need more. I need more shades in my life.
Indeed.
Kevin Davis, thank you as always for your lovely contributions as sometimes co-host. Always a pleasure to have you, and wish you and yours the best for the new year.
Thank you. I'm very glad I could be here for the end of the year podcast.
We are.
I know last week we were trying for it, but it's better that we did this one.
Hey, better late than never.
Yeah, man.
Well, we were glad to have you. And that, folks, will wrap up episode 33. Reminder, you can get at us on iTunes and Stitcher and Podbean. Subscribe on all of these services and tell your friends to do the same. We love having subscribers and listeners and all that fun stuff. Check out the Horns Up blog for more daily content. We are hornsupmetalshow.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We're facebook.com/hornsuppodcast. Twitter @hornsuppodcast. So yeah, tell your friends. The more the merrier. Thank you as always for stopping by. Wish you and yours the best this holiday season. And remember, live,
Love,
plow,
horns up.